What's going on, traders? Welcome to this week's Forex Forecast. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to check out the Patreon or the YouTube membership for my daily chart analysis. I hope to see you there. All right, starting things off with the US dollar index. The past week, the institutions added 1,100 longs and they also added 1,685 short positions. And remember, if you want that caught report spreadsheet, links in the description at the YouTube or the Patreon membership. So first things first, looking at the weekly chart here of the US dollar index, I talked about how it's very possible we pulled back to this weekly area of supply. We haven't quite contacted it yet. We are just off by a little bit, but you can basically say, weekly demand is in control right now. So buyers are possibly going to be stepping up. And as you can see on the lower time frames on the 4-hour chart, we have lost this downward momentum. So that is the sign that the US dollar is going to continue to go up. Now, I wouldn't really feel comfortable getting in long just yet. I would like to wait for that high to be removed, leaving us with a 4-hour uptrend like this. And then I think, it's very likely and it's high odds to be starting to get in long on US dollar pairs. So that's pretty much all I'm seeing here on the US dollar index. So yeah, I would definitely not be shorting the US dollar right now. And I would just be a little bit more patient to wait for some long trades on US dollar pairs. All right, on to EURUSD, and really quick, in last week's forecast, I talked about this area of 4-hour demand right here, and how we could see a move up from here, and we did see a very nice move up. So just wanted to show you guys the power of the supply and demand zones that I draw. And remember, if you do want all of these supply and demand zones on a daily basis, check out the YouTube or the Patreon membership. Links are in the description. It's only $5 CAD per month. I would love to see you guys join the team, and you can get all of these zones on a daily basis, so you can catch basically every move. I would like to see you guys all join the team with all the other members who are using my zones to use them for profitable trading. So now looking at the call report here for the euro, the past week the institutions got rid of 519 longs, and they also got rid of 13,861 short positions. So just like the opposite of the DXY, we are contacting this weekly area of supply on the euro right now. So it's very likely we see a move down here from the euro, or at least a small move down. But the reason I think we could see a bigger move down from this weekly supply is not only because we are in weekly supply, but if you look at this trend on the weekly chart, it's a very clear downtrend. So I would not feel comfortable going in long just yet. So if anything, I would be looking for a 4-hour confirmation trade. And what that's going to look like is something like this. Once we remove this demand zone here, leaving us with 4-hour supply, that would be a decent little shorting opportunity on the euro. But just like I said on the DXY, it might be safer to wait for this low to be taken out, leaving us with that 4-hour downtrend, and then we can start to hop onto the short side. But ultimately, I think looking for shorts at any time is definitely okay, based on the idea that we are in weekly supply and that weekly downtrend. So if the euro is looking pretty weak right now, yes, we have seen a nice move up, but like I said, we are contacting weekly supply in a weekly downtrend, so I am definitely expecting a downward move here on the Euro USD. All right, next we are on to the gold forecast. And really quick, if you guys are enjoying this video so far and appreciate my weekly Forex forecast, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. I would be happy to see you guys return back every week. So looking at gold call report here, the past week the banks got rid of 12,743 long positions, and they also got rid of 1,500 short positions. And I talked about how weekly demand is in control right now on gold. And if you come over to a daily chart here, we actually almost reacted off of this daily demand. But clearly, in my opinion, gold is looking pretty strong right now. So I would actually be looking for some buying opportunities in gold. And right away, my eyes go right to this 4-hour area of demand right here. So I think looking for longs here is definitely a decent idea. And what you could be doing is going down to a 15-minute chart and looking for confirmation coming off of this 4-hour area of demand. And we actually have a very beautiful 4-hour uptrend here. I actually forgot to draw it out for the members, but here it is right now. So we have a 4-hour uptrend and we're sitting in 4-hour demand. So looking for a 15-minute confirmation here is definitely a great idea. I'm not really seeing anything just yet, but the confirmation that you're looking for is either this supply removed or this supply removed. So if you do want to get in long, I would at least wait for this 15-minute supply to be removed first. And this one removed as well would also be great, but this would be the more aggressive trade once that's removed. But ultimately, I think gold is going to push up from here. We're just going to have to see how it works this week. But like I said, 15-minute confirmation is definitely going to be needed coming off of this 4-hour area of demand here. And if you don't know what confirmation is, check out my tips playlist. Links in the description. I have a few confirmation trading videos, and that can definitely put you on the right path to look to get involved long here on gold. Yes, it's very possible we just peak through and then go up, but ultimately I think looking for a confirmation is the right thing to do here on gold, coming off of weekly demand and basically daily demand as well. All right, USDJPY forecast. And remember, comment down below what pairs you guys are watching this week. I'm very interested to see what you guys are looking to trade this week, so definitely let me know in the comments down below. Looking at the call report here for USDJPY, the past week the banks got rid of 6,300 long positions, and they also got rid of 1,300 short positions. We had a daily supply zone here that was holding up price for a bit, and we actually just removed that, and we exploded to the upside here on USDN. So I think the USDN is going to go a lot higher, and here's another reason why we have a very, very strong weekly uptrend. Yes, we had a little bit of a pullback, but ultimately we are going back up, which is very expected. I've been talking about the USDN for quite a long time. So now let's look for a few trading setups. I do see a couple setups here. One, we have a 4-hour demand zone right here. You could certainly look for 15-minute confirmation coming off of that 4-hour demand zone. I think that's a great little trading setup right there. Or there's also a 1-hour demand zone right here. You could look for 5-minute confirmation coming off of that zone, but I definitely like the 4-hour demand zone a lot better than this 1-hour demand zone. So ultimately, I think the only setup I see here is to wait for this 4-hour demand to be hit and look for 15-minute confirmation coming off of that 4-hour area of demand. And I do not recommend shorting the USDN right now. Yes, we are coming up to the high right here on the daily chart. We could see a small move down, but ultimately I think looking for longs is going to be much better based on that weekly demand. So just wait for that 4-hour demand to be hit and look to trade a confirmation trade to the long side. GBPUSD forecast. And in last week's forecast, I talked about how it's best to wait for this upward trend on the 1-hour chart to look for longs until after that happens. But we did not break this high right here. And as you can see, this 1-hour supply held up very well. So just wanted to show you guys again the power of supply and demand. We actually had a nice little 1-hour trading setup right here, but price could never get right back up to it. But ultimately there was another zone here for the YouTube and Patreon members that they could have looked to get involved in here. So if you did, congratulations to you guys. So just wanted to show you guys that quick here on the 1-hour chart on the pound. Now looking at the call reports, the banks added 4,800 longs and they got rid of 1,415 short positions. The daily chart's a little wacky here. We have lost momentum with the break of this daily supply, but ultimately I think the pound is going to go much lower because I do think that the US dollar is going to get stronger. So as far as any trading setups go, I don't see too much. What I would be waiting for is waiting for this 4-hour demand to be broken. As you can see, this demand was extremely strong. This is a key area of demand right here. We've had 1 reaction, 2, 3, and we're now coming in for the 4th test. So this demand zone is getting weaker and weaker, but it also means that this is significant demand. So what I would do is I would wait for this 4-hour demand to be removed, hopefully leaving us with 4-hour supply right here where we can look to get involved to the short side. Either that, or once we break the low here, like that, we will have that 4-hour downtrend. Then we can start to trade set and forget trades to the downside. I also have a tips playlist in the description, and I have a couple videos on set and forget trading as well if you don't know what I'm talking about. So I think the pound's going lower. To just do a little recap, the pound most likely is going lower, but I would wait for this key zone to be removed first before hopping in to the short side on GBPUSD. USDCAD, the past week the banks got rid of 4,100 longs and they also added 1,521 short positions. We are actually contacting weekly demand right now in a weekly uptrend on USDCAD. And really quick, I just had a question for you guys. I'm very interested to see. Comment down below, where do you guys think the US dollar is headed? Do you think it's going to go higher from here or much lower? I'd be very interested to see your guys' response. So let me know in the comments down below. So we're sitting in weekly demand here on the USDCAD, and so is the US dollar. So very simple. To keep it very simple for you guys, I would be looking for 4-hour longs on this pair right now. And what that's going to look like is the removal of this nearest 4-hour supply zone. So once we get this 4-hour supply zone removed right here, then I would look to get in long with the 4-hour demand right here. That would be your long entry right there. But ultimately, it'd be best if we got this downward trend line removed as well. So if we see something like this, and there's a 4-hour demand zone here, which will be available if you're a YouTube or Patreon member, that would be a fantastic 4-hour confirmation trade to look to get involved. So that's pretty much all I see here on USDCAD. Weekly demands and control, I'd be looking for 4-hour long trades. And like I said, if you want the zone that removes all of this stuff, check out the YouTube or Patreon membership. Links in the description. I can certainly help you with your trading, like I said before. But USDCAD looking pretty strong right now. Yes, we've had that pullback into weekly demand, but I think we could see a large up move from that demand zone. All right, on to AUDUSD forecast. The past week, the institutions got rid of 3,600 long positions, and they also got rid of 446 short positions. We have had a shift in momentum here in the daily chart. We are pushing up higher. So if price comes down to this daily demand zone, you could definitely look for a little confirmation trade coming off of that daily demand. But ultimately, I think we're going to go a little bit higher here on the Aussie just for a bit. But it's kind of a weird looking chart. I'm definitely not very interested in trading this pair right now. The only real setup I see is this 4-hour demand zone right here and a 4-hour uptrend. But the problem is that it's right around this upward trend line. And with my experience, all the experience I have trading, when price comes down and reacts off of a trend line and a zone, usually what you see is a spike through and then a push up. So if anything, I would only be looking for 15-minute confirmation coming off of this 4-hour demand. And that's pretty much all I see. But we could also see the Aussie dollar just continue to go down because we have that weekly downtrend. So we could at any time see this just start to roll over. But I would not consider shorting until all of this is removed. So once we get a nice push down from here, if we don't get the confirmation for the long trade, if we get a push down, breaking this upward trend line and this demand, whatever 4-hour supply zone removes, that will be very significant. And that will be a nice little shorting opportunity. So right now in the Aussie, just kind of sitting and waiting on our toes and waiting for confirmation to either side. But I think ultimately we'll probably go lower on the Aussie dollar. Just need to wait for that 4-hour confirmation first. USDCHF forecast. The past week, the banks added 2,071 longs and they also added 1,286 short positions. Starting off with the weekly chart here, just want to show you guys the overall perspective here. The weekly trend is clearly up, so we could at any point see the USD Swiss just continue the up move. On the lower time frames, we have had downward pressure, but if you come over to a daily chart here, we have a nice little daily supply zone here. So there's a few options here. You could definitely look for a little 1-hour confirmation trade coming off of this daily area of supply. I think that's completely fine. And let's say we get it. I would look to take profits somewhat early, maybe a 1-to-1, maybe a 2-to-1. But if you're looking to get in long, I would wait for this daily supply to be removed. So we could just wait for that to be removed and then leaving us with daily demand, and we can look to trade that. So USD Swiss looking pretty interesting here. It's kind of a weird looking pair based on all the time frames. But ultimately, I think we're going to go a little bit higher here on the USD Swiss. Just going to have to wait for this daily supply to be removed first. But like I said, you can also look for a little 1-hour confirmation trade to the short side here on USD Swiss. All right, last but not least, crude oil. The past week, the banks got rid of 858 longs and they also added 927 short positions. In last week's forecast, I talked about how if you were getting in long, I would look to be taking profits somewhere before this daily supply. So I definitely would be taking profits if you are long right now. And I don't really recommend shorting this. And why don't I recommend shorting this? Well, look at the weekly chart. We actually just broke all of this weekly supply right here. So in my opinion, it's getting very strong. So I would not feel comfortable at all getting in short on oil here. And I don't really like the idea of getting in long just yet. I think it's actually best to wait for this daily supply to be taken out first, or wait for it to go through it just a little bit more, and then I would look to get in long. At least it's a little bit aggressive, but I think it'll work out. As far as any trading position, any trading setups go, you know, if you're really eager to get in long oil, like I said, you can ignore that daily supply if you want. You could look for a 15-minute confirmation coming off of that 4-hour area of demand, or you could look to set and forget trade a 15-minute chart to the upside. So a few options here on oil. Long trades are certainly aggressive, but it could definitely play out in your favor. Just, you know, since we're sitting in daily supply like this, if you do want to get in long, you know, at this 4-hour demand zone, or even at this 1 hour demand zone right here, I would maybe consider, using half risk or a quarter risk or just a little less risk based on daily supply being in control. But remember, weekly uptrend is still in play, so this daily supply could be easily taken out. Hopefully you guys found this weekly Forex forecast helpful. If you did, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like and check out the Patreon or YouTube membership if you need help finding your supply and demand zones. It's only $5 CAD per month. Hope to see you guys there and hope to see you in the next video.